I'm waiting for the little thing in the corner to tell me that I'm live. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to episode number 125 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. This is going to be with an old buddy of mine, Marq Withers, but I messed up a couple of things here already, and we're not even 30 seconds into it. So I'm waiting for Mark to join me, and hopefully everything will work smashingly, and we will not have much of an issue here. So let me just find him, and we will, as they say, get the show on the road. I'm there. I'm trying to, yeah, okay, so you should be up in 2 seconds. There you go.
All right, I see myself.
Okay. Well, that's what's important, man.
All right, good. How are you?
Oh, well, I wanted to wait until you came on before I tell everybody the story, but so things are going to be a little bit slower than usual because I left my mouse, my computer mouse, over at the other place. And so I'm doing everything with my index finger, and I am not real good at scrolling with the damn.
I'm the same way.
So, yeah, right? Okay. So for everybody who, I warned people that this was just going to be me, as we say in the islands, old talking with an old buddy of mine, right? So, anybody who's coming on, Terry Valor always comes on from Great Britain, and Charles Loudermilk. But anybody who comes on looking for some ravishing insights into Jeet Kune Do, this might not be the episode. I don't know what Mark has in store for me, right?
Zero.
This might not be the episode. Anyhow, right? So can you see me and this picture?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So this is the picture that our mutual friend Omar Angulo put up. And then you said to Omar, do you remember what you said to Omar?
Something to the effect of, I know that guy. I don't know if he's going to remember me. I haven't talked to him in almost 30 years. Right? And I'm thinking, what the heck? How could Mark think that I would not remember? So anyhow, so for those of you who can't see what's going on here, that's me. Omar was my student at the time, and that is Chad Stahelski and Sifu Dan. And this is probably, I want to say this is 1995 when Sifu Dan brought Chad in for our annual seminar, right? So this is how Mark and I got back in touch with each other, right? But so where should we start? We didn't meet each other before Only the Strong, right? That's right. We met on that set.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I don't think I don't have. We'll circle back to that.
Okay.
This is not going to go in chronological order. I want you to tell me what's going on here. Right. I got a bunch of pictures to show you.
Oh, wow.
What's going on here?
Well,
that's the Milli Vanilli. That's the Milli Vanilli days.
Wow. Put me on blast in front of, I don't know how many people are watching this, but
hey,
but
listen, this photo is public. It's on Facebook, so
yeah, it's on my page. It's on my page. So
right.
I can't say anything.
Okay.
So like in the so like in the early to mid 90s, I was in this band. I played drums for a band called Colorblind, and we kind of were not really like a glam rock band. It was sort of like that post glam, like that era, early 90s. And so that was kind of a promotional shot for a demo that we were coming out with at the time. And a friend of mine that I reconnected with, her name's Jo Horseman.
she has like all of our old pictures from back in those times. So when I reconnected with her on Facebook, she actually sent me this picture. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I remember this. So I just put it on my page just for fun, you know, throwback Thursday kind of thing.
All right. But see, the drumming thing I didn't know about until I saw this one. So I didn't know that we had that in common. I mean, I never played in a band or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw a picture of you. I was actually looking at your profile, and I saw a picture of you with Sifu Dan, and you were behind the kit. And I didn't know that about you either. I didn't know that you played.
Yeah. I mean, never anything professional or what have you. My brother played, my two brothers actually, at one point were professional guitarists. I always fooled around behind the drums, you know, and it's been a lifelong thing. I mean, I don't have a kit anymore or anything, but that photograph with me and Inosano, that's my drum set. And that's what I used to practice on and what have you. So, so this is interesting because when I saw that picture, not only did I think of Milli Vanilli, but I thought also of Living Color.
Right.
Yeah.
So incidentally, that's actually one of my favorite bands, even now. Corey Glover is probably like one of my favorite singers, and I actually sang for a band. You know, after I was in that band, I started singing, and I actually sang for a band called Sonic. And a lot of people used to compare my voice to Corey's, which I loved. I was just like, oh, he's like one of the biggest influences. And even today, like I still listen to their stuff. I just think they're a great band.
And weren't they based out of Atlanta? Aren't they from Georgia?
You might be thinking of Seven Dust, which is like another rock band. It has a black lead singer, and he's got long hair also. But yeah, they're out of Atlanta. Also, awesome band. Awesome.
See, but for some reason I thought that Living Color was based out of Georgia, which is why I thought that you had got. So let me tell people, I thought that after Only the Strong, Marq stayed in Hollywood and continued to do stuff. So when we reconnected, I'm like, so you're not in Atlanta making movies and what have you?
So you thought that I was either Corey Glover or Lejean Witherspoon or somebody else. I get it. That's funny.
Right? No, I mean, and then when I looked on your page, I don't have that picture, but first your profile picture says Wakanda, and then there's like the superhero. I should put it up for people, but I don't have access to it right now, and my finger's really slow. But so when I saw that, I go, yeah, he's got to be doing movies and stuff.
No,
but
I never. Yeah, I think I tried briefly, like right after Only the Strong, because I didn't know how any of that worked. And you know, once that movie came out, and well, actually before that movie came out, I thought I was going to be in it a lot more because we shot quite a few of those fight scenes. I actually had lines in the film. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm taking off. So I got an agent after that and like tried to do other things. And I got a couple of little things here and there, but it wasn't anything big. And then I just kind of shifted my focus after that. I didn't really concentrate too hard on trying to become an actor. I was just really just wanting to continue doing martial arts and music and just have fun with it.
Right. All right. So like I told people, this is not going to be chronological at all. So even though we both trained martial arts in Miami, we never met each other. You were in Kenpo, am I right?
Right. Good memory. Yeah. I was actually I was studying at Instinct Martial Arts Karate Academy. I don't know if you remember that.
Over in Pinecrest, right?
Right, that's right.
Or what is now Pinecrest? Because I don't think it was Pinecrest back then.
No, we just called it the Falls, like because it was directly across from the Falls, and so that was what we called that area. And trained with him for years, and that was home.
I mean, you were an instructor over there, weren't you? Or at least a very senior student, right?
Yeah, I was a senior student, assistant instructor, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah. All right. So here's how I remember Only the Strong. We got a phone call like one Saturday evening or something, and it was essentially, "You want to be in a movie?" And we said yes, and we showed up on Miami Beach. How did you guys get it? Is that what happened to you?
So close. So I was never asked to be in the movie. So what happened was when they were, I guess, casting the capoeira kids in the movie, they had seen some of the younger students from Instinct at a tournament, and they invited them to go and audition for the movie. So I just went along for fun. And I remember sitting in a hallway with a bunch of people, and this guy comes out and he's like, you, and you, and he points at me and he's like, "You guys come with me." I'm like, okay. So then he puts me in a room and he's like, "All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds, do all the martial arts that you know, just like all your kicks, all your punches. If you have a kata, do that." So I just, all right. So I did that. And, you know, they were like, "All right, somebody will call you." And I got a call like after that, asked, you know, "Do you want to be in the movie?" So that's how that happened.
I mean, that's very similar. We stayed out in the hallway also. I remember that hallway, probably everybody from every martial arts school was represented.
I recognized many people from like all the tournaments and just going to different schools and stuff. Yeah, right. Everybody was there.
Yeah. Well, we were never on the tournament scene, so I didn't know any of them. I just, you know, realized who and what they all were, you know. And I remember a guy coming out and doing what you just said. You know, he says you, and you, right? And so a bunch of us end up going into the back room or whatever. But you know, back then we were a little bit obnoxious as JKD people, and so I seem to remember when he said, you know, "So what do you guys do?" We were like, "Well, what do you want?" You know. It's like, you want empty hand stuff, you want weapon stuff. What do you want? Right. And so I don't remember the specifics, but there was probably like 9 of us or so, and but I think only the clean cut guys didn't get called back.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Right. The clean cut guys didn't get called back.
Right.
But the rest of us, yeah, we definitely got something going there. So what are you training now, Marq?
So I'm not really like training formally at the moment. You know, I'm just I'm an older guy now. I'm not really spend a lot of time, you know, in school.
Wait, hang on a second. Did I read correctly that you're a grandfather?
I am. I have
You're freaking kidding me.
Yeah, I'm a brand new grandfather. My granddaughter's name is Ava Monroe, and she's only been with us for a couple of weeks, but I'm over the moon, and it's a completely, I don't know how to describe it. It's an emotion that I didn't know that I had in me until I saw her.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, congratulations, but that's amazing to me.
Thank you.
that you could, because I think I'm older than you.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
You know, I might be older than you. So how in heaven's name did you surpass me in that area? Anyhow, so what the according to the Internet Movie Database, you went on 5 years later and you did, what was it called? Dark Night of the Soul?
Yeah, I think that's the name that they ultimately landed on. It was originally called Scorpio, and then it was called something else. And they had like 3 or 4 different names. And then,
oh, really?
And then ultimately, like right before they released it, they landed on that name. I didn't even know that until I saw it on IMDb myself. I'm just like, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So how did that one come up? How did that one come about?
I had a friend at the time that knew the writer and the director of that movie, and they were looking for somebody that was kind of, I guess, my body type and around my age to play this character. And he, introduced us, and I just did a quick audition for him, got the part, and
Is there
that was
martial arts
that.
stuff in it?
No, it was just straight horror. It was like I basically just played like an undead kind of, I guess, a talking zombie, if you will. It's kind of an interesting kind of B horror movie.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
And it was a local Miami thing, right?
Right. Yeah, it was. It was kind of a cursed production. Everywhere we filmed, there would either be a storm or some kind of catastrophe that would happen that would like destroy the set. And we'd have to refilm the whole thing like the next day or the day after.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And okay, so I was piecing something together because Omar, if I remember correctly, Omar is big into the comic books and the animation and stuff, right?
Right. As am I.
Okay, so that's how you two knew each other in Miami?
Yeah, we actually know each other from high school. Like we had mutual friends in high school, and we kind of hung out in the same scene. And like I've known Omar probably since I was like 15 or 16 years old. And that's what we have in common is like sort of like the comic book, kind of nerd thing. We're both collectors.
Yeah, I know a bunch of those people. They're my students, and I don't get it. But every once in a while, they'll talk about something that I actually recognize, and every once in a while, I'll tell them about something, and they'll go, "Oh, really? That's pretty cool." So do you know a TV series from a few years ago called Orphan Black?
Yeah, I remember Orphan Black.
Yeah, so I fell in love with that series.
Oh, it's a great show.
And they enjoyed it. So then, Sifu Dwight got a few cool points because he and Orphan Black, that's when I first heard about Comic-Con.
Right.
I didn't know anything about that stuff, So that was kind of my in with some of my students. So Omar Omar works in that industry, but you don't, right?
No, I actually work in AV, like audio visual. I'm a tech, and I work basically doing meeting support, doing helping with video, video conferencing and things like that for Toyota.
So you know what? So you're a good guy to ask. In the audio tech world, in the AV world, have there been so Zoom has come up, right? I used Zoom to do the Jeet Kune Do dialogues a while ago, so I was familiar with it. But good God, what is going on now in that world?
As far as video conferencing, I mean, it's kind of exploding, right? So, yeah, I mean, because it has to, I don't.
So you never stopped working, huh?
No, not really. Which is a blessing, right? Because a lot of people,
good for you,
a lot of people have been furloughed or they've been laid off from their jobs because of the nature of their work. But the nature of my work has kind of allowed me to, continue on as normal, and I can work remotely or I could work on site. And so it really, I don't want to say it hasn't affected me or anything like that, because obviously this COVID-19 thing has affected everyone in various ways. So definitely want to give respect to that. But yeah, as far as my job, it hasn't curtailed me in that way, which is good.
That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, I mean, we were able to transition
transitioned to the online classes like pretty quickly because of my familiarity with Zoom and other platforms and what have you. But so when's there going to be another Comic-Con, you think?
Oh yeah, well they definitely canceled it this year. So I don't think it's going to be for a while, which is, it's disappointing for a lot of people. I've never actually been to the San Diego Comic-Con. I've only ever been to, like in Chicago, when I lived in Chicago, we had one called Wizard World. And it was similar to that, like it's just like a smaller scale convention, but I used to go to that.
I see.
But yeah, I always wanted to go to the San Diego one because that's the granddaddy of all comic
Maga, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's go back to the Kenpo days. What was the initial attraction to Kenpo?
I didn't really like pick Kenpo. It wasn't like that. It was more, I don't know if you remember these days, Sifu, but like we used to, when we were kids, we used to watch like all these ninja movies, like Revenge of the Ninja and Enter the Ninja and all that stuff. And me and my friends just kind of fell in love with the idea of martial arts in general. But there weren't really any schools around where I lived at the time. And then when Instinct popped up, it was like right in my neighborhood. And so I couldn't afford to go to those classes because I was just a kid. I didn't have any money. I would just go in and watch them. And then my Sifu one day invited me to come in for a free lesson, talk to me. And he offered me, and I guess I can say it now, he wanted me to keep it a secret back then. But he was like, I know you can't pay for these classes, but I'll make you a deal. If you show up every day after school and you answer my phones, clean the windows, clean the school, make sure everything's tidy, I will train you for free. And I held up that bargain. He held up his end of the bargain. And then that just morphed into me becoming an assistant instructor there and getting really deeply involved in Kenpo from there. And it just never left me. Like that simple act, because it probably wasn't a big deal to him, but it like really changed everything about me. Like it changed like how I saw, changed like my confidence level, changed how I interacted with people, how I spoke with people. Actually, made me more fit and it gave me a real understanding of what martial arts is versus, you're just walking around and beating people up, which is what the movies kind of showed you back then. So, so that's kind of how I ended up.
I didn't watch any of those ninja movies. I was a Bruce Lee purist. So, Enter the Ninja to me was sacrilegious, so I never got it. I never got it.
I didn't get into Bruce Lee until like a little bit later. Like, those were like the first movies that we saw like on cable and stuff, when you're like 10, 11 years old, like that's what's on cable. And then when I started to like meet like actual martial artists, like, have you ever heard of Bruce Lee? I'd heard of him, but I'd never seen any of those movies. And then once I saw, I think the first movie I saw of his was The Big Boss. And as soon as when I saw that, I was like, I want to learn whatever that is. And I didn't meet you until years later. So.
Well, at least you started in chronological order, because I started with Big Boss. And it's safe to say that Big Boss is why I dropped out of what I was studying at the time.
Oh, wow.
Because, I was like, okay, that's what I want. It's not available anywhere in Barbados. So I was like, okay, I'll just find as much material as I can on my own, and I'll train it on my own. And that's how I started, because I became a pain in the butt, because everything for me was, well, Bruce Lee says, and they were like, right, you're not Bruce Lee, right? But so anyhow, okay. So now I'm going to try to get technical and do this. this is part of the reason why I was a little bit late. I actually forgot. I apologize. I forgot to send you the link to come on the program, right? So let's see if, I hope I didn't mess this up. Let's see if I got them in, nope, I don't have them in the right order. But let's see. Is it nothing's playing, right?
No, I don't see anything playing.
You don't see anything? Yeah, because so it's taken a while to upload. Let's see if it, oh man. Anyhow, this was the scene. I'm going to try playing it again. This was the scene at the firehouse on Biscayne Boulevard, downtown Miami. Did you all have a scene there?
We did, and it got cut from the movie.
Right? I know. I filmed a fight scene there too. Right? Like, what the heck happened to that one? Right. So yeah. Okay. So I don't know why this stuff is not playing. So that's that one, right? So we'll try to come back to that another time. Let me see. If none of these show, then I'm just gonna have to talk my way through it. Right. Let's see. What's this one? No, that's too early. This is embarrassing. I thought it worked pretty well the last time that I did this, but I think these MP4s are too. Oh man. Okay, well, whatever. Oh, right. Yeah. Let me try it again because it'd be fun.
There it is. I see it now.
Okay. All right. Go. You know why this one worked? Because this is you.
First of all, I ain't a teacher. Second, I'm in a real shitty mood.
Mark Dacascos.
Third, no law says I can't make it my business. So let the kid go.
Well, my man, you just made it your damn business. Get it.
I can't believe I let them dress me like that.
There we go. All right, check this.
Well, that was my 15 minutes.
Your partner there is wearing the same wig that they put on me, I think.
Yeah, they had like a stable of them, I think. That's Jeffrey Lewis, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jeffrey Anderson Gunter, I think was his name.
Well, yeah, but I mean the old man that just came out. There we go.
Right.
Now, was this the first thing that you filmed? Was this the first scene that you filmed?
It was actually the last one. So they had us do a bunch of different fight scenes in different locations, and then they wrapped me, and I didn't expect to hear from them. But maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, they're like, "Well, would you come back and do this additional scene? We're going to shoot something in a school, so it'll be like a 1-day shoot." And the actual choreography that Frank Dukes originally came up with was a lot longer than that. But when we ultimately shot that scene, they just wanted those 2 kicks. They were just like, let's just cut it short so that he can knock this guy out really quick. So that's what it ended up being.
Because what's interesting about that, as I watched it, it's like, okay,
you do your kick, he hits you, and then you disappear.
Right. There was supposed to be way more to it. But yeah, like they were just like, yeah, just let him, after this kick, fall to the ground, and then once we do the other shot, you're out of frame. So which I don't know how that would ever work in real life, but
So okay, so all right, so let's see, what else man. Well, we're not. I don't think I'm going to be able to show them in order or anything. So, but I'm going to try to. This one's funny. This one's funny. I want to ask you something about this one. So let's see. If I knew what you knew about AV technology, this would go a lot smoother.
Right. Oh yeah, I was in that car. I remember that.
Okay, right. So that's what I wanted to ask you, right? You were in the car with Jeffrey Gunther.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that line. Like, make a U-turn.
Right. Okay. So here's what's funny.
We're on the way. Make a U-turn. No.
Here's what's funny about that. They shot a scene of me on the phone.
Really?
Right?
I didn't know.
Yes.
I never knew that.
Yeah, they shot a scene of me on the phone, and I was supposed to be talking because he was our boss, right? Were we in the same gang? You were a bodyguard, and I was a gang member, right? But we were in the same gang, right?
Mm-hmm. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they shot a scene of me talking to him on the phone as well, but I don't know what the heck happened to that. But that one never showed up in the movie either.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get the outtakes of all the stuff that we do, just to be able to see
that
it.
would be something. Okay, so now, do you remember? Did you film that before the schoolyard?
Yes, that was actually my first day on the set. Was that scene?
Because in the movie, the schoolyard happens before all of this.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. Oh yeah. They filmed. Well, I don't think they filmed that last, but yeah, that was the last scene that I was in, and then that make a U-turn scene. That was the very first. That was my first night on set, and yeah, and then that was the same night that we did that big, where we were chasing the guys with the machetes. And do you remember that? Yeah, it was that same scene.
Let me see if I can get that one up. Because this came up. Wait, let's see. Right, I put this one in because you were right in the middle of you're right up front in the camera in this one, I think.
Get to me alive tonight.
So very
yeah. Right? There you go. Right. So that was your first night on set. That was your first scene.
That was it. Yeah, that was the first night I was there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So then we go from that in the story. This is where we go searching for the. No, it's not that one. I can't show that one. Let's see. Is it this? Bear with me while I try. Okay, here we go. Give it a chance to load. Right, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Right. So this is where. Let me try to rewind it a little bit,
because this is where the members of Unified Martial Art Academy were put on display. Right? Okay, wait, I got it. That's Kevin Fernandez. Here's Ricky Amador.
Yeah, Ricky.
Right? Yeah. And then he gets whacked. So I take over. Right? Now, here's the thing. Do you remember this? Were you there when we were doing all this filming?
Yeah, I remember all of that. As a matter of fact, we shot that for a number of nights, right? It was like, I want to say like 4 or 5 nights. We just kept doing that same scene like over and over. And that is probably that period in the film is like where I actually met you. Because when we were off screen, when they were kind of setting up shots, you were actually like teaching somebody. I remember this pretty clearly. Like you were teaching, you were showing somebody a drill, and you had a crowd of people around you. And I remember like watching you, and then I walked up and like asked you what that was, and then you taught me that drill, and I still remember it. I think you called it like seeking the path or seek the path or something like that.
Yeah.
But I still messed around with it today, and I've actually shown other people, you know, what you showed me, and you know, like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's funny, because last Friday I was on the dialogues with Richard Rycraw, who is a student of my senior Bert Richardson, and Richard was telling me about his experiences with capoeira in Los Angeles. Guess whose name he mentions? Amen Santos.
Yeah, I was thinking about him.
Right? So last Friday, Richard mentions Amen Santos. So I start smiling, right? I didn't have a chance to go into only the strong experience with him, because I knew you were coming on today, you know. But what's funny is that I had called Bert Richardson and I had said, Bert, so I'm going to be doing this movie. What do I do? He goes, well, take a training bag, because there's going to be a lot of downtime in between takes, and just train. And that's why it happened. That's why I think we took a bullwhip and everything. We were doing all kinds of stuff on set, right? But yeah. So I want to show you this. Let's see if I can get it to play again. I want to show you something here and then ask you, right? So you see what happened there? It goes real fast, but I get kicked in the head and I fall down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real fast, right? But here's what happened. Frank Dukes says to me, Dwight, you want to make more money? I go, sure. He goes, okay, let Marq kick you in the head and you fall down. Did they say anything like that to you?
Yeah, they did actually. Before, not in that scene, but in another scene where I was just kind of background. They wanted him to, like, I think it was just a scene where we were doing something with our hands. We were doing some just like sparring with hands and stuff, and he wanted him to like punch me and not, you know, basically for me to like just fall after the punch. They wound up not using it because I smiled too much. They kept having to cut because I couldn't believe that they were even asking me to do it. You know, like in my head, I was just like there for just to be an extra, and I was totally happy to just be an extra. And so when Frank Dukes approached me and asked me to do that in that scene, I was just like very hyped about it. And so as we were doing the scene, you could just, I didn't even know I was doing it, but we're just like, I'm just like this the whole time. They're like, cut, you cannot smile, you can't. And I never I guess I didn't get it down enough to where they could keep that scene, so they
Right.
wound up getting shot.
Yeah, yeah. In that sword scene that we were doing, they came to me. They yelled cut. They came to me and they go, Dwight, you can't attack Marq's open spots. Right?
Wow.
I go, oh, okay, right. And then I wanted to show him something so that the swords could make contact. They said,
Right.
no, don't worry about that. We'll take care of that in post editing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when I look at it today, I go, holy, that don't look so, right. But what was interesting, did they do this to you? They had me in front of the camera and Marq behind the cameraman, and then they told me to move, and then Marq moved the cameraman, and then we reversed it. They put Marq in front of the camera with his sword,
Right.
had him move, and then I put my hands on the hips of the cameraman, and then I would move him based on what Marq was doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so it's in that scene. I'll send you the clip of that scene, and it's like, in the final thing, it's like 2 seconds.
Right.
You know, right? Do you remember the big bonfire night?
Yeah, with the Pananawe, like whatever they had us.
No, it was the one with the makulele thing, with the double machete.
Oh, with the
Remember that?
sparks. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. That whole night we filmed. So that night, right, I got makeup. They didn't do much makeup with me, right? But that's where they put the wig on me, right? And that night I got, if I remember correctly, I got upgraded from extra to featured extra.
Right.
Remember those? Remember those?
Same thing. Yeah.
Right.
Extra,
so then I think,
featured,
yeah, and you got to eat at like the better food table.
The ADs would be nice to you, like, because before when you're just like just a regular background extra, they're just yelling at you to like go here or go there.
Yep.
When you're featured, then like they're all of a sudden like asking you if you need anything, and you know, like it's like a completely different thing.
I don't remember it being. I don't remember. You just said that we filmed that scene over and over again, but I didn't remember it being a number of nights. But it makes sense, though. It makes sense because when the movie came out, I saw somebody standing behind Marq in my yellow sweatshirt.
Right.
But it wasn't me. Right?
Yep.
And you can tell because the guy's got muscles. Right? Right? But I don't remember it being, you know, over a few nights. I just recall it being like but you're probably right about that. All right, so let me try to do. I think I got a couple more. This is the final fight scene. Let me see if I can do this one. I don't know how my internet's working over here. Let's see. You see anything yet?
Yeah, I see it.
Severio! Just you and me. It's time we finish it.
So I can see that's you in the green.
Let's finish it. Let him go.
And then
If I win, these kids are mine again.
If you win.
They filmed that like I don't know how many times with him like throwing the machete.
So let's see if this works. I'm gonna try to let it buffer and catch up. But the machete thing, that night, I seem to remember the bonfire night with the double machete.
Right.
I seem to recall that that's what we filmed all night long. Do you remember it that way?
Yes, I do too.
That was the only thing that we filmed.
Right. They just kept sending us back to one. We kept running after them. And then, yeah, it was that same thing for the entire night.
Yeah. And that was 2 seconds in the movie.
Yep.
You know, right? Did you gain any insights into Hollywood and movie making from that experience?
Only that, basically that, well, a few things. One, that they almost never film these things in chronological order for whatever reason that is. And then the other thing is that if you have a scene, no matter how short, it's going to be shot and reshot again. I actually had an extra role in The Dark Knight, in the Batman, Christopher Nolan Batman movie back in 2008 that came out. So it was just for I don't know if you've seen that movie or not, but there's a scene where the Joker threatens to blow up a hospital. They evacuate the hospital and they send all of the patients onto these buses. Well, I was one of the patients on one of the buses. So that little bit that they showed, which was maybe like 2 or 3 seconds with Jim Gordon, like on the phone talking to Batman, that took a week to film. They basically had us panicking and running out of the front of the hospital, and which, by the way, it wasn't an actual hospital. It was a candy factory. Do you remember Brock's Candies? It was the old Brock's Candy plant in Chicago. And so they had us like run out of the front of there, down the stairs and onto these buses. And it was actually a completely different scene that they had in mind. But it was, they just kept having us do that same thing over and over for like, I want to say like 4 days.
Right.
for that very short, like 2 second piece.
Yeah. I mean, that was, like you said, that was one of the things I noticed, that they do a lot of shooting, right? And they cover it from all these different angles and what have you. But I fell in love. I mean, I had been primed for it because, I'm connected to Dan Inosanto of all people, right? So, and then Jeff Amata, is my senior. So a lot of us JKD guys had that Hollywood thing in our minds. Plus, I used to spend a lot of time in LA, so I'd be over there, and Sifu Dan would have to go to shoot something for. He actually doubled for what's now I can't remember the actor's name, but the Mr. Miyagi actor.
Oh wow, Pat Morita.
Yeah, Pat Morita. So Pat Morita did a TV series after the Karate Kid called, I think it was called O'Hara, right? He was a private detective, and Dan Inosanto stunted for him a couple of times on that. Wow. So I was in LA. I didn't get to go on the set, right? But he dropped me off at the academy, and he went to do that, what have you. So I fell in love with the film making thing. But then I realized that it's a hustle, man.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I was like, I don't think I'm up for that level of hustling.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a full-time job to try to get anything out there, which is that just, which it kind of discouraged me right off the bat when I tried. I never actually went out to LA, but I tried to do it locally. Whatever would come through Miami, I would try to get on. Or, I spent some time in Atlanta, and, if something was coming through Atlanta, I'd try to get on. But it was usually just similar to what we were doing, which was, a lot of extra work or featured extra stuff. Yeah. And it was hard to even get that. And I kind of feel like, if that is what you want to do, more than anything, I mean, if you want to be an actor, then you've got to have that kind of focus, to not only the focus, but you've got to have the thick skin to kind of like put up with all the no's and all that other stuff, which I didn't have. So I just didn't, I never really pursued.
I mean, look at Mark Dacascos, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we know who he is. We hold him in high regard, but you ask the average person on the street, they have no idea who he is, but he's done a ton of work.
Stuff.
A ton of work, right? But he's not a household name as such, right?
Right.
But okay, so let me see if this thing will play now. Because I have to cut it down for time and what have you. But this is what I remember. Right? So it's not too jumpy.
Whatever happened to that guy?
But he did,
Taco.
I think he did one more thing. But Mark did some stuff in there that I still don't understand how to move.
Yeah.
I really, really don't understand how he did it. Especially right at the end. Right? So I hope that shows. What I noticed about this particular scene is that they had 2 cameras on it. And so they have him do the same thing again, but it's just from a different camera angle. But it's the same technique. It's the same 3 techniques.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, I was talking to him one of the nights that we were working on this. I was trying to get him to teach me that, like, there's a sort of like a move where he's kind of on the ground, and then he lifts his right leg up, and then pushes off with his left hand. And then that turns into like this kick over his head. Yeah. And I was like, just enamored with that move. I was like, you got to teach me that move. So he spent like 15, 20 minutes trying to teach it to me before they pulled him away, Yeah. But
here's the thing. The silhouette of him doing that kick, I think, became part of the promotional package.
Right. It did.
Right. And then that kick and that silhouette became part of the American martial art tournament deal.
Oh, wow.
Everybody started doing that kick.
Mm-hmm.
And then to this, so right here at the end, let me see if it plays. Because we're standing there, we're watching him do this. Then we set up the finale. So let's see. This thing here.
Is it buffering?
Right.
Funny story about that.
Huh? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the funny thing about this movie
Oh wait, is it playing properly
yeah, it's
now?
playing now. Mhm.
But it's not buffering or anything.
No, it's playing. It's,
Evenly?
yeah.
Ah, okay, all right, okay. We'll force everybody to watch it again.
I think you're right, Brady. We gotta deal with this shit. Right now, right here.
Oh
Get
man, no,
rid of
it's
this
messing
ladies
up.
or what? Is that okay? Severio! Just you and me. It's time we finish it. Let's finish it. Let him go.
If I win, these kids are mine again.
If you win.
Okay, well, it's taking too long. But that thing that he does at the end, where he does like the, how much is that? 180, 360. He does like a 720 in the air,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Were people doing that stuff on the tournament scene before then or after him?
I want to say after. I want to
I
say
think
after.
so. I think so.
Because I don't remember, because I used to do a lot of aerial stuff in, like, you know, in our forms in our school. We used to do a lot of aerial stuff, a lot of jump reverse hooks, a lot of windmill kicks, butterfly kicks, but it wasn't anything like what we see here, where it was like multiple, you know, rotations. I don't think we saw that on the tournament scene until after this movie came out.
Yeah, I understand that it was somewhat of a massive cult hit on HBO in years later. Like it was like one of the most popular things on HBO at some point, right? And but yeah,
Go ahead. No, what were you gonna say?
No, I still don't understand how he did it. And I was there watching him, and I'm like, I'll never be able to do something like that.
Yeah, when I was trying to get him to teach me some of this stuff, he was telling me that, like, before he even got into capoeira or anything, he was a gymnast, and so he like kind of like focused a lot of like the things that he learned in gymnastics about rotation and torque and things like that, and poured it into the app, you know, basically applied it to what he was doing with capoeira in the movie. And I guess he'd worked with Amen, and they kind of worked on some of these moves together.
Yeah. He and I had almost met in '93. He and I had almost met 8 years previously, because he was supposed to be part of a group of martial artists that went down to Trinidad.
Oh, wow.
And Sifu Dan, there was a big demonstration done because Mark's dad had a student in Trinidad, and so a bunch of Al de Cascos's people were going down to Trinidad to be part of this demonstration, and Dan Inosanto was going down also. So I went down from Barbados because this was just before I moved to Miami. So I went down to Trinidad from Barbados and helped Inosanto and Chris Kent to in that demonstration. And but Mark, at the last minute, I think he got a call for a movie, so he didn't make it.
I see. Right?
So when he and I met on set, I said, hey, do you remember in 1985 you were supposed to go to Trinidad and whatever? He goes, yeah. I go, well, I was there because I'm Dan Inosanto. He stops me and he goes, you're Dan Inosanto's student? I was like, yes.
I always wondered too, like how did you come to become his student? How did you meet him, first of all?
I took it upon myself to fly out to California. In 1983, I saw an ad in Black Belt magazine that there was going to be a 2-week camp in California, and Dan Inosanto was teaching. And so I had been self-training for over 10 years.
Wow.
Everything that I could get my hands on when it came to Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do. So of course, I became aware of who Dan Inosanto was. And so I started my annual pilgrimage every July 20th to Bruce Lee's gravesite, because that's the anniversary of his passing. So I did that for 3 years. And then in 83, I said, Dwight, you're only going to get so far in Jeet Kune Do, paying respects to the deceased source.
Right.
You got to check out the living source. So in 83, instead of going out to Seattle on July 20th, on July 23rd, I think it was 22nd or 23rd, I flew out to LA.
Wow.
And and that was my first time with Inosanto, and never looked back, thereafter.
Wow.
And it ended up becoming my world.
You made a good decision.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Yeah, a really good decision there.
I like to think so, right? So what, you said that you're not currently training, like formally, you're just doing stuff on your own, or what have you?
Basically, yeah, like what you were just talking about, self-training. So I live in Louisville, Kentucky now. I've lived here for a number of years. And from the time that I moved here, I've always had the intention of like trying to find a school, and I just haven't found one that's a good fit. So, what I have chosen to do up until I find a school that I like is to just continue on just self-training, going through all the forms that I've learned over the years with my Sifu, and just continuing with my own drills, my own stances, and things like that. I learned a lot of well, I shouldn't say a lot. I've learned a little of other styles outside of Kenpo, and I've tried to take pieces of what I've learned and incorporate that, and just kind of just train myself as best I can until I can find something that works for me. That's kind of where I'm at now.
Right. Yeah. If the phone rang and somebody says, "Oh, Mark, we just saw you in Only the Strong back in '93, and we like the look of you, and we're wondering if you'd fly out to LA and do a thing with us," what would you do?
What do you think I would do? We know that's not going to happen, but yeah, if that were to happen, I would be there in a heartbeat. Especially if it was like action related or martial arts related. That was something that back in those days, that was the goal. That was what I wanted to do. I think that's what a lot.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I contemplated moving to LA, keeping the airline job and moving to LA, but I would not have gotten a shift over on the West Coast that would allow me to train at the Inosanto Academy. So I just stayed in Miami and just started bringing him to Miami as much as I could, right? But I'm right there with you. I'd be there in a heartbeat. I swear to you. Mm-hmm. I'd be there in a heartbeat. Hey, maybe one day we'll make Only the Strong 2.
That's we need to find out. Yeah, we need to find out what happened to those kids.
Yeah.
Did they follow through?
Yeah. At one point, I think I did look up a couple of them, like the little dark-haired one, Richard Coco, I think is his name.
Yeah, that was his name.
Right? Yeah. I know that he went on to do some stuff. I saw him in some other stuff. Paco Prieto did at least one other movie. I'm not sure, if anything else happened after that, right? Mark Dacascos, as we know, the Iron Chef. I take back what I said. He might have been a household name because a lot of people watch the Iron Chef, right?
Right. He was in a couple of high profile things before that. There was a movie, I want to say like 2001, 2002, there was this movie called Brotherhood of the Wolf. And that was that was a big deal at that time. And I remember people talking about his character and asking who Mark Dacascos was and stuff like that. So and then after that, I think he was in, forgive me, the TV adaptation of The Crow. Remember that movie, The Crow, with Brandon Lee?
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a TV adaptation.
They did a TV series. I think it only lasted a season, but he played Draven in that.
Ah, really?
It's worth checking out. He's actually really good in it. But
I know that on TV he had a recurring character in Hawaii Five-0.
Really?
I saw that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of work in that TV series, which has been going on for I don't know if it's still going on or not, because I don't catch too much TV and what have you. But yeah, but hey man, it's been fun catching up. I'm sorry that the videos didn't work, but I have all of them, the MP4s. I'll send them to you.
Oh, please do. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll send you the whole thing, and then I'll send you some of the stuff that I did for Charlie's Angels, right? So you can take a look at that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny when you see it, because I got the call, and they had a specialist, right? Mm-hmm. A special advisor, like martial arts special advisor, and they were trying to work out a scene, and I was not the special advisor, so I didn't say much anything. And then I go, well, how about if we do this and then this? And they were like, wow, yeah. And that's what made it into the final cut.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. So just like in Only the Strong, I pretty much ended up choreographing my own scene.
Wow. So is this was this in the new Charlie's Angels, or is this the one?
This was the short-lived, one season only 2011 TV series.
Oh, I didn't even know they made a series.
Of course not. Nobody does.
I need to look for that. I had no idea.
Yeah, nobody does. I actually found my episode, which coincidentally I think was the final episode, right?
Yeah.
But here's how I spin it. My outfit in that TV show is all black. I don't wear a mask, but I wear a black cap and I wear all black clothing.
Right.
So I go, this is my Bruce Lee moment, because I'm dressed in all black like Kato, and the show lasted one season just like the Green Hornet. So
there you go.
That's my tie-in. That's my Bruce Lee tie-in. Right?
In Hong Kong, they call it the Dwight Woods show. They don't call it
Yeah, but man. Anyhow, listen, it's been fun catching up with you. I'll send you that stuff, and we got to keep in touch. I want to know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you. I'm glad that we were able to reconnect after so many years. I mean, 28, 29 years.
Yeah. Long enough for you to become a grandfather. I'm still floored by that one, man. I'm still floored by that.
It's amazing. On the one hand, it's like, to be that old, to be old enough to be a grandfather is kind of crazy, but it's also just the best thing ever. So,
yeah. All right. Well, listen, you take care, right? We'll talk again soon. I'll send you that stuff sometime over the weekend. All right.
All right. Take care, Sifu.
Okay. All right. See ya. Take care.